What do The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol all have in common? After a quick search on the internet, you could find that they are all directed by Brad Bird. But there's something more to these films that unify them ideologically, and that is masculinity. Bird's movies offer an interesting and evolving discussion of masculinity. Each one promotes what is called the new man, which is defined by Susan Jeffords as a man who can transform himself from a hardened, muscle-bound, domineering man into a considerate, loving, and self-sacrificing man. This new man expresses feelings and acknowledges community as a site of power. He, in essence, accepts his traditional feminine traits. The opposite of this, which I will call the old man, is controlling, works alone, and emotionally closed. When applying this concept to Bird's films, we can see this divide being pushed further along the lines of age groups. The new man is aligned with youthful male characters, while the old man is aligned with older male characters. Using The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I will argue in this video that Brad Bird's films promote a post-feminist form of masculinity through the establishment of a positive-negative dichotomy that aligns young males with the new man and older males with the old man, making the new man desirable. Brad Bird's first film as director, The Iron Giant, offers the most hardline divides between the new and old man. It was released in 1999 by Warner Brothers. The movie follows a young boy named Hogarth as he befriends and hides a giant alien robot that has crash-landed near the small, fictitious town of Rockwell, Maine. The main antagonist is Kent Mansley, a federal agent looking for the giant so he can destroy him. He is forceful with his desires and is very domineering to those around him. Quite easily, we can see Hogarth and the giant aligned with the new man, while Mansley is aligned with the old man. To illustrate this, let's take a look at a sequence where Hogarth and the giant discuss death after witnessing hunters shoot and kill a deer. Pay attention to the new man characteristics, such as expressing emotions to others, and how that is translated into physically and verbally reassuring each other.
I know you feel bad about the deer, but it's not your fault. Things die. It's part of life. It's bad to kill, but it's not bad to die.
You die?
Well, yes, someday.
I die?
I don't know. You're made of metal, but you have feelings, and you think about things, and that means you have a soul. And souls don't die.
Soul?
Mom says it's something inside of all good things, and that it goes on forever and ever.
What Hogarth and the giant engage in during the sequence and the rest of the film is what Eve Kosofsky-Sedgwick calls homosociality, which is non-sexual social bonds between persons of the same sex. Mansley is put in contrast with them as he will do anything, like intimidating and abusing a child for information, to reach his selfish, hypermasculine goals. Whereas Hogarth and the giant sacrifice themselves for the group, maintaining their new manhood. Throughout the story, and especially at the end, Mansley is punished for his toxic masculinity. The Incredibles is Brad Bird's second film as director, and his first with Pixar Animation Studios. It was released in 2004, and follows Bob Parr, a man with super strength who fights crime as the superhero Mr. Incredible. Bob is forced into civilian life after superheroes are made illegal. Frustrated with his life and job, Bob takes up a mysterious job offer that promises him a return to hero work. Bob is the model old man, but unlike in The Iron Giant, he is able to transcend the barrier between the old man and the new man and transform himself and his masculinity. This occurs through a 4-step process as described by Ken Gillum and Shannon Wooden. The first step of this process is striving for the alpha male identity, which Bob does twice. First, when he is Mr. Incredible, and second, when he attempts to return to his superhero days by taking up the mysterious job offer. During both of these instances, Bob refuses the help from others and keeps himself emotionally detached, which are signature traits of the alpha male and old man. The second step of this transformation is a symbolic emasculation. This also happens twice to Bob. The first time is when he is forced out of hero work and into regular civilian life as a result of his tendencies for collateral damage. The second occurs as a result of his attempts to regain his alpha male status. His emasculation happens when he is captured by the villain of the film, Syndrome, as his new job was actually a trap. The third step of this process is engaging in a homosocial relationship, like what Hogarth and the Iron Giant experience. In Bob's case, his relationship is an antagonistic one with Syndrome. It nonetheless leads Bob to the fourth and final step, becoming the new man. He does this by recognizing his family as a site of power, openly expressing himself to them, and rejecting his previous masculinity. This clip that we're seeing occurs when Bob and his family are trying to escape Syndrome's island after Bob's family has rescued him. It is one of the first instances where he exhibits his new manhood by quickly showing his emotions to his family and then relying on them for success.
I love you.
Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol is Brad Bird's fourth film and the fourth film in the Mission Impossible franchise. It was released by Paramount Pictures in 2011 and is Bird's first live-action film. It follows the protagonist, Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise, as he and his team track down a terrorist attempting to ignite a nuclear war between the United States and Russia. The film furthers the transformation Bob undergoes in The Incredibles by adding some more nuance to it. Instead of the male characters in it undergoing a straight transformation from old man to new man, they oscillate between the two before finally reaffirming their new manhood. Ethan Hunt, who is a middle-aged man, will want to work as a team at some instances, and then will go off on his own, fulfilling this oscillation I have just discussed. However, Ethan has to be reminded that he will only succeed by trusting and working with his team. This next clip, in which Ethan attempts to run down the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, makes him see his team as a site of power and makes him embrace its feminine power, specifically that of Agent Jane Carter.
Your line's not long enough! No shit!
In the end, Ethan and his team succeed by working together and acknowledging that is the only way to succeed. They also partially open up about their emotions, reaffirming these men's new manhood. Brad Bird's films promote a more enlightened and open form of masculinity by aligning the audience and male protagonists with youth and the new man form of masculinity. This type of ideology is important for films intended for children, like The Iron Giant and The Incredibles, and films intended for general audiences, like Mission Impossible, as they can teach a more progressive form of masculinity.